And I heard the neighborhood kid telling my son about it yesterday, about how great it is that it face scans him and knows his voice and follows all his movements. And Microsoft admits that it's listening to your whole house with it. It's hooked into the internet. And now they're erasing the Jesse Ventura TV show off of the TiVos and Uverses. We've confirmed that. Why would they let Ventura's show come out and then decide to start pulling episodes and banning the re-airing of certain episodes? Well, I know the inside scoop. They allowed it thinking that it would just be a conditioning mechanism. But for some reason, they decided it was having too big of a trigger, and they banned the police state episode. What do you think's going on behind that?
You're probably quite right. It probably was meant to be a predictive programming, over-awing show. And folks say, well, gee, what can you do about it? It's going to come. But the more folk talk about it, you see, and find ways to propagate the information to each other and find ways around it to combat it, or they get a big backlash about it, then they find it's had the opposite effect than what they intended.
But that shows an enemy miscalculation. And again, not that Ventura's bad or I was bad. I mean, we really put real shows on air. And it was funny, though. The network would come in to say the episode on bioweapons labs, BioShield, and it was a really serious episode. But the network execs above Even True TV said, put a Montauk monster in there. Put a dead animal that washed up and try to discredit it. Yeah, but they were unable to get it all done. So now they're just like, no, stop, no, don't air it, no.
Yeah, and I've had the same offers, too, to go on to some really big shows. I turned them all down because they want me to bring in the aliens and this and that and the other. And what that does, is you then act for counterintelligence. Counterintelligence takes the factual data, they mix it with the farcical, and then people parrot that and sound like lunatics.
Yeah, same here. I've turned down in just the last year multiple big national shows I would host. I mean, you know, ready to go. But they said, listen, the execs want you to do aliens mixed with it. And I'm like, and let me guess, chupacabras as well. I'm like, no. And people can't believe when you say no to them.
Yeah, I know. Regardless of the cash that they offer and the whole thing, I've just turned them all down because every single biggie out there has asked me to do the same thing.
Well, plus, once you've done that, they have weird rules, unwritten rules. Once you've taken one of their deals, even though it's unwritten and unspoken, then if I did that to use it to get even bigger, to then flip and expose them after, then they would kill me. But because I've always stayed pure, it's like a weird unwritten rule. I know you've studied that. What's behind that?
Well, it's partly compromise as well. They have their own set of legalities and rules. It's like a brotherhood. You come into their confidence and you're agreeing to something you suspect. And they'll make sure that they give you enough information that you suspect they want to use you for something. And that's a real legal deal in their sort of brotherhood terminology and their way of thinking. And they don't let it go. They will never let it go if you've acquiesced to go along with something like that. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Why do the globalists enjoy throughout history, the initiated ones, the Illuminati priest class, why do they love destroying their own, even servants that serve them perfectly? I mean, is it just part of a process of killing anybody who knows where the bodies are buried?
It's partly that, too. It's partly that remember, they are an ultra-elite, and they have a completely different upbringing, a completely different education than those that go to even Harvard. And I can remember Orwell put part of the initiation of the so-called Illuminati or the rebel force in his book, 1984. And part of it was that you had to swear that if it was necessary to sacrifice you for the cause, they would sacrifice you, and you had to accept that one day they might just sacrifice you, throw you to the wolves. And they have no problem doing that. And you must remember, too, that Julian Huxley, who was umpteenth generation inbred for his purpose, because they were already especially breeding.
Yeah, he was the head of the UNESCO dehumanization program.
Yeah, he admitted that he was, there were offspring of scientific elite, and he was one of them. That was his family's role. And,
yeah, most of the children died, but he and his brother were the only genetic expression, yeah.
And he did say that lots will think they're fit to come through into this new world order as a servant class who serve them very well. But they're in for a big surprise. They will eliminate them too. They will no longer need them. And apart from that, they'll know too much. They'll know too much. And when they don't get the proper rewards that they thought they would get, like they will not be living in these specially rural, gated, high-class communities. They'd be bitching, they'd open their mouths, they'd let the cat out the bag, and they'd be a problem. They'd have to be eliminated. And
I hope they're listening, because the New World Order can't wait to torture you to death. So all of you out there thinking you're on the winning team, you lose. The only way we beat this is by defeating it. Alan Watt, let's talk about solutions, your ideas straight ahead. 2 more segments with Alan Watt. Always appreciate him. We'll give you his website as well. Just amazing information. I'm Alex Jones. Don't forget the new search term, Maryland Stage Terror.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're going right back to Alan Watt here in just a moment, going live into the 4th hour. Meteorologist as well at the 8 after break. I want to tell you about endofamerica3.com. Stansberry and Associates Investment Research is an independent investment research arm founded in 1999 with subscribers in more than 100 different countries. They recently created an eye-opening video you can see for free at endofamerica3.com. Again, that's free, endofamerica3.com. They're telling their biggest and most important prediction yet. Again, that's endofamerica3.com. Check them out today, endofamerica3.com. Also made right here in America, they're still running that very popular special, 888-8-GUSSET, high-quality gusset clothing, motorcycle jeans, regular jeans, all right here made in the good old USA, gusset.com/America. And they've got a special when you get a couple pairs of jeans. You can get 3 free gifts, including T-shirts and a great audio CD about reindustrializing America. That's gusset.com/America, gusset, GUSSET.com/America, or 888-8-GUSSET. And to get those specials, free gifts, tell them Alex Jones sent you with your order. Okay, going back to Alan Watt. Alan, they're not invincible. They don't have all the answers. And I think one of the biggest keys, as you just alluded to, is reaching out to the super class that Rothkopf called it, 6,000 super gophers, and really... And I've talked to some billionaires. I've talked to people, medical doctors that have treated heads of state. They will even confide in them that they're depressed about this, but kind of through fear going along. Just because they're raised into this, a lot of them don't like it. And I think reaching out to them to resist and to speak out, I think that's a really important thing to do. As we near this mass extermination program, what's your view on that?
It's difficult to get through them. I understand the concept, but they've had a lifetime of this indoctrination, and they still cling. They'll still cling to the hope that they'll be the ones living in the more expensive, gated communities, well armed, well defended, well fed, with the extra privilege. See, this world is to be a world of privileges, you understand. And every tier gets extra privileges. Even the cops get extra privileges. No,
that's what Nick Rockefeller, it's an artificial state-run class system. Nick Rockefeller told Aaron Russo that the elite are all going to have chips that say, kiss my hind end.
Mm-hmm. And as I say, too, they'll have to, and they do, they have to work till they drop, the elite as well. They don't retire, as you well know. They've sworn on for life. And they don't get a break. They must go along and along and along with everything and never give a slip of the tongue. It's hard for them to do that, even at parties, etc., because that means an instant death sentence or a cut-off from the food supply, or you get bunged in with the peasants. But there'll be the cities themselves, as you well know, are getting set up to be the prison camps as they take us down. They haven't upgraded these cities. They don't intend to upgrade them. They've let the roads rot for the last 30-odd years in preparation for this. And it's for rapid depopulation. They hope to depopulate rapidly over the next 50 years. And Rockefeller said that at the last meeting of what they call the Lucky Gene Club, where Oprah and Gates and all these guys go. He said, well, we've been very successful with sterilization and so on across the world, but now we must go into rapid depopulation. That means getting everyone off the land into these cities that are falling apart. And there'll be other ones put up, special ones for the managerial class to have their extra privileges, their better lifestyle for a while. And that's how it's really being set up at the moment.
They're even building on the 15 acres they stole from landowners 14 years ago in Austin. Elite areas actually owned by the former city council people that took it. They're now the bankers and the state senators, and it's openly neighborhoods with the criminals living in the luxury homes.
That's right. That's how it's always been intended, just like Brave New World predicted. Yeah.
Man, they are so diabolical. They are so fully sick. Man, I tell you. Back in 60 seconds, final segment with Alan Watt. Alan Watt, fire out your website.
It's cuttingthroughthematrix.com.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
It's hour number 4, ladies and gentlemen. We are live the 6th day, this Thursday, 2011. Piers Corbyn, meteorologist, astrophysicist, joining us on what's happening with the weather. Finishing up with Alan Watt of cuttingthroughthematrix.com. Again, I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com. Alan, again, I study the globalist, and they've got these overall managed systems, but they want managed systems that are totally surveilled, because if it isn't inside that surveilled system, they can't control all the outcomes. And I do see them making a lot of mistakes, but because they do have the finance, the capital on their side, they've got a lot of momentum. But I'm getting really positive, and a lot of the political minds that I admire really agree that the globalists are not invincible and are not all powerful, and that things are not going perfectly for them. But I know that your view varies a bit on that. Give us your view.
Well, you see, they're quite right. I read an article recently where some of the top politicians said that everything that they do, and for everything that they put forward, and plans and rules and laws, the public must accept them and acquiesce. No, they need our approval, our tacit approval, and silence, it really connotes your approval. And without that, they can't do anything, to be honest with you. If enough people simply said, and they could, but the problem is getting them to do it. No, we're not going along with this. We're not going along with this or that or whatever. We're boycotting all your airports, yada, yada, yada. That could so easily be done, but you cannot get the public to come together in this day and age. They're so divided. That's your problem. It could be done. But for every totalitarian measure that comes out, you can simply say no. That's it. It will take martyrs. There's never been a change in history to get out of under the boots of tyranny that did not take martyrs going to prison for saying no. I'm not going along with that. You're not going to do this in some nice hygienic way. Believe you me, it's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen by pleading with them either, because these guys have got too much to look forward to. They've been in the planning for hundreds of years. They don't plan to change it and turn around and be nice to us. These are monsters at the top who literally see, like H.G. Wells, he knew darn well about the killing of millions in Russia and the Ukraine with the Soviets, and he thought it was a good thing. He saw the same thing coming across the Western world towards the end of the millennium into the new. He says, well, they'd have to kill off millions and millions of young people as well, because they're all fertile, basically, and that would simply have to be done, very matter-of-factly. These guys are monsters, and but at the same time, for every law, and the minor laws, too, that they put out to tax you, and carbon taxes and all the rest of it, you must say, okay, and when you sign that tax form,